Welcome back. If you're just joining us, my name is Troy Wineland. This is a Summit County TV special on forest management in the wake of the mountain pine beetle epidemic. In this next segment, we will discuss forest health projects as they relate to trails and recreation here in Summit County. With us this morning is Ken Waugh with the U.S. Forest Service here in the Dillon Ranger District. Thanks for joining us today, Ken.
My pleasure.
So, without a doubt, one of the greatest things about Summit County is the extensive network of trails. It's where we enjoy our recreation, whether it's biking, hiking, or skiing. Can you talk to us about the Forest Service's approach to the pine beetle epidemic as it relates to established trails throughout the county?
Sure. The trails in Summit County are definitely something we all treasure. And as managers of the White River National Forest in Summit County, protecting and maintaining those recreation uses is a top priority for us. So in places where stands of lodgepole have been impacted by the pine beetle, and we are removing the dead, dying, and vulnerable trees, we put a lot of thought into keeping those trails usable to the greatest extent possible. Trails through stands of mostly dead lodgepole pose a hazard to trail users. After 5 or 10 years, trees can fall even when there's just a slight breeze. So where there are hundreds of trees along a trail, this is a big hazard to the public and also to our employees who are working in the area. So also when trees fall across the trail, they have to be cut out. And if this is not done right away, mountain bikers and hikers, they beat out a new trail around the tree, and so then that has to be rehabilitated once the tree is finally removed. So by cutting trees preemptively, this helps to more effectively keep trails open rather than on a regular basis having to go out and clear trails. So with all the trails we have on the district, over 400 miles, and the widespread lodgepole mortality, it's a very big challenge for us to keep ahead on clearing trails.
Sure.
So some people have suggested leaving a buffer zone of uncut trees along trails. However, that really wouldn't address the hazard tree situation. That being said, we do cut live lodgepoles as well, but these trees have very shallow root systems. So if only the dead trees were cut, the remaining trees would be much more susceptible to being blown over by the wind. So we've had to do quite a bit of clear cutting along the Peaks Trail, which is a very popular trail that follows along the 10-mile range between Frisco and Breckenridge. And while we acknowledge that the change is pretty dramatic, it's only occurring along about 9/10 of a mile of the trail, and the trail is 7 miles long. So in addition, by removing stands where there's high mortality from the pine beetle epidemic, we're going to be improving the structural and age class diversity along the Peaks Trail. So this will help with future management by reducing the likelihood that fire or future insect impacts would impact the entire length of the trail.
Thank you, Ken. So, in light of these upcoming or ongoing timber projects, can folks expect to have trail closures during those projects?
Yeah, so the work we're doing to remove the stands of lodgepole impacted by the pine beetle may result in some areas, some roads and trails being closed, not accessible for short periods of time. So we definitely considered those impacts when we conducted the environmental analysis and the planning for these timber projects. So we're definitely asking the public to have patience during this time. These impacts are only temporary, and they're isolated to certain locations, and so we're hoping that the public will understand that these impacts are necessary for us to go forward with these projects. So we've got a lot of heavy machinery working in these areas, and so it just doesn't make sense to have the public recreating near that heavy equipment. In these areas, we expect to have some long-term benefits in terms of forest health and scenery and fuels mitigation.
So Ken, can you share with our viewers at home, are there resources, where can they go to find up-to-date information on these potential trail closures?
Primarily, people can check out the White River National Forest website, as well as visiting the Dillon Ranger Station in Silverthorne.
Thank you very much for coming out today, Ken. I appreciate all your information.
You're welcome.
Be sure to check out those online resources, or better yet, why don't you stop by the Dillon Ranger District office in Silverthorne. The knowledgeable and helpful staff there will be more than happy to find that perfect trail for you for that for your next outdoor adventure in Summit County. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk with wildlife experts about the impacts to wildlife species here in Summit County.